that we talk about quite a bit. Want to thank Hawaiian Financial for their support and providing this wonderful venue for events like today. And speaking of events like today, we want to optimize our time together with a very, very, very special individual. A couple of housekeeping things that Safi had just mentioned as well. And the reason you'll get to know Safi is that we're going to have a two-part today. We're initially going to start with my conversation with Billy, and then the second part after the break is going to be dedicated to you for any questions that you may have. And so we want to kind of mix it up, have engagement and more. But I also want to remind you that after today's conversation, Billy is going to be performing at the Blue Note. Who's been to the Blue Note before? Ah, come on now. I have my mail sent to the Blue Note. I'm there so much. It will be this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 7 p.m. show. Be sure and get your tickets on BlueNoteHawaii.com, or stay with us because we're giving away a pair of tickets to this week's performance. So stay with us. We'll have that to give away. Folks, it is rare that we have an individual that has made such an impact, not only in music, but on our society at large. Music is the lifeblood that courses through our communities, through our families and ourselves. He has created, along with his partners through the years, some of the most recognizable songs ever. But what I love about our guest today is that he goes from here to there, goes back and over again with the variety, the skill, the talent, and the passion for making music. Ladies and gentlemen, here in the Hawaiian Financial Music Hall, would you please help me welcome the gentleman we're sharing time with today, Mr. Billy Gibbons, please.
Quite a send-up.
Oh, there we go. I kind of struggle with small chairs here. I'm like kicking it around and all that.
Oh, it's a Fender. You know, they should, yeah.
It's good to see you, Billy.
Everybody having a good time.
This is going to be hot. This is going to be hot. Billy, you were born in...
I need to get the uniform correct. Now it's right.
There we go. I didn't know that was you until you put the shades on. I was like going, who is this guy? No, but let's start at the beginning. Want to optimize our time as much as possible. And by the way, I love your interviews. I've watched you on podcasts. I've seen you on long form. You tell a story like nobody else. And let's start with birth. We'll start there. Born where, Billy?
I was 0 years old.
Yes.
Grew up in Texas, and fast forward up, I was just mentioning, we were walking down Ala Moana, and I was on the phone talking back to the mainland, but there was a young lady being very patient, but she was rubbing her hands together, and I could kind of get this sense that maybe somebody I knew or something. And I finally got off the phone, and she said, "Hey, I'm sorry to bother you, but I think you know my dad." And I said, "Maybe so." And when she revealed who her dad was, one of two brothers that lived at the end of the street that I grew up on, and from my bedroom window, I could look down the street. These two brothers were the coolest guys. And they had a band, and they used to practice in their front yard. And I could see down the street, her dad is the guy that got me into playing.
Oh, God.
So here we were in Honolulu. I said, "Yeah, it's been." Anyway, yeah. But fast forward, I had a buddy. He said, "Hey, man," he said, "didn't you tell me that you kind of got your start from watching these two brothers that had a little combo?" I said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "And you knew the guitar that this one brother played?" I said, "Yeah, it was a 1960 Les Paul when they changed the shape. And I said, it had some hot rod pinstripes on it. And he goes, I've got that guitar.
Oh, come on.
He said he found it in a pawn shop and he brought it over and gave it to me. I still have it.
Oh,
I told this young lady and she started crying. It was great.
oh, I love that. Love that.
Anyway, that's kind of how it all started, yeah.
You know, your household growing up with your parents, of course, but it was a musical household. Could you share a bit about your parents?
Yeah, my dad, born in England with 5 brothers. They came over in 1908. Their dad was a glove maker, and they came and they wound up going upstate New York. And even today, there's a town called Gloversville.
I love that.
They make gloves in Gloversville. But I asked my dad how he got in the entertainment business. He said, well, my brothers and I went to have lunch with our dad at the glove factory, and when we left, we all looked at each other and said, we need to think of something quick. We're not doing this. So they all picked up an instrument, and they started, they had a combo, a little ragtime outfit called the Jazzy Five. But they were really good, so good that they expanded, and then they became the Gibbons Brothers Band. And they got all those contracts, the Catskills, the Adirondacks up there, Lake George, Saratoga Springs. But there was another glove maker. He was an immigrant from Poland, and they gave him a name, Samuel Goldfish. And one day he came and he approached my dad and he said, Freddie, he said, we're going to go to California. He said, we're starting another business. Going to make motion pictures. And Samuel Goldfish changed his name to Samuel Goldwyn and started a little company called Metro Goldwyn Mayer.
Just a
MGM.
A little startup.
So my dad was married at the time, and he and his wife and little baby, they moved to right there in Hollywood, California. And then my dad's first wife fell ill, and she wanted to go back to Houston, Texas, to be with her dad. So I guess after her passing, the good news, my dad met my mom, and we got to grow up in Texas.
Oh, how's that? Love that. Billy
Yeah,
Gibbons
man.
with us. Love it. You know, the one thing that, as I was learning a bit more about you, is the passion for music, as I said in the intro. Brother, it exudes. It exudes when you play. Even when you're speaking, I'm hearing music while you speak. It's really uncanny. Can you identify that love, that passion? Was it because of where you grew up, with whom you grew up? And when we talk about passion, it's usually fueled by those who had great influence, people that were very important to you.
Yeah. Well, Rick, I guess it's fair to say what's really started it before seeing the teenagers at the corner. My mom took my sister and I to see Elvis Presley.
Oh, well.
I was 5.
Yeah. Wow.
And I said, okay, there's a start. And then I remember when I was 7, my dad said, hey, he said, I'm going to the recording studio. I got some business with the owner. He said, I'm going to put you in he said, I want you to, we got to the studio, and I said, yeah, let's go. He said, go sit in that chair, be quiet, don't say anything, but there's a band that's going to come in and make a record. Turned out to be the B.B. King Orchestra. I was like, okay, Elvis, baby, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So it was a great way to start out. And then when I turned 13 on Christmas Day, my dad said, hey, there's something behind the tree back there. And he pulled it out. I said, wow, a guitar. And he said, yeah, don't forget the amplifier. An electric guitar.
Man.
Okay, we're done.
I think that's it. You mentioned Elvis, B.B. King, but can you share about Big Stella and Little Stella having an influence on you?
Yeah, we had a housekeeper named Big Stella, and she had a daughter named Little Stella, and she had a little sister named Minnie, and a littler sister named Dorothy. So we were surrounded, and they were such music fanatics. They would come to the house, and they immediately turned the radio on. And there was 2 stations that specialized in playing blues and R&B, KCOH and KYOK. Those were the stations. And my younger sister and I were impacted by this constant stream of such great stuff. Yeah. And I remember Christmas Day picking up that guitar. My sister said, "Oh, come plug it in." And we learned that very introduction to What'd I Say about Ray Charles. You know?
I love it.
And then Jimmy Reed, fast to follow. So those 2, they remain the cornerstones today.
Yeah. To this day, I love that.
Jimmy Reed. You can listen to Jimmy Reed forever, and you think it's real simplistic, but the level of sophistication behind the Jimmy Reed stuff will blow your mind. Every time you hear it, you pick up something that you thought you'd heard before, but it's new.
Yeah.
It stays new.
What was a significant part early on in your career? You had the opportunity to play, I believe it was 4 shows, with a young man at the time, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, yeah.
And the impact.
I had started a group inspired by another outfit called the 13th Floor Elevators. So
I love that title.
Yeah, those guys just blasting out of Texas, and they had picked up on the term psychedelic, which became their kind of benchmark. So we started a group called the Moving Sidewalks. I said, elevators, they go up, sidewalks go forward. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And we cut a track called 99th Floor. It became real popular. Well, we had a girlfriend that had won a contract with Revlon, and they put her as a fashion model, sent her to London. And at the time, she was going great guns. Well, one day I received a package in the mail, unwrapped it, and there was this vinyl album by this unknown group called the Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Wow.
And I can remember putting that on the turntable and staring at it for 5 hours. It was, and that's kind of what, and shortly thereafter, the Moving Sidewalks management outfit called up and they said, yeah, he said, we received a phone call. There's a group from England coming over and they would like you to join their tour. They're called the Jimmy something. I was going, would it be Jimi Hendrix? And they said, yes, that's it, Jimi Hendrix.
Unreal.
So the funny part, how we got to be friends with Jimi Hendrix, the Moving Sidewalks, we were so new to this thing. We only had about 35 minutes of material that we could perform, but we had learned Foxy Lady and Purple Haze.
From the album.
And when we signed on to do this tour, the promoters were very fussy and they said, you must play 40 minutes. I said, well, we only know 30. No, we've got 40 minutes if we play 2 Jimi Hendrix songs. And I'll never forget finishing up Foxy Lady, and off to the side in the shadows, it was this figure with his arms folded. And when we walked off stage, I remember being grabbed by the shoulders and saying, I want to get to know you. You've got a lot of nerve.
That's it.
I like you. We became fast friends.
Love that. The significance of that, and then also, and we're moving forward a little bit because we want to make sure our time is good, but I would love if we had about 4.5 hours, if that would be okay. I got to ask you
Well,
this.
lock the door. We're going to stay here all night.
No problem. We've got some brisket and beer on the way in. I think that'll help. So it has to do with connecting with, meeting, and working and living with Dusty and Frank. And the 3 of you together forming ZZ Top. It is iconic. It's legendary. It's all the superlatives we could shout out. But how did that connection start?
Well, the moving sidewalks were disrupted. The keyboardist and the bass player, they were drafted into the military, leaving me with the drummer. And of course, we wanted to continue on. And we decided to reach out. There was a group that we had become friends with, headed up by Jimmy Vaughn, Stevie Ray's older brother,
Yes.
Jimmy Vaughn.
Yep.
Their group was called the Chessmen. And we called up, and I couldn't reach Jimmy, but I got through to the rhythm guitar player, Billy Etheridge. And I said, hey, man, I said, I'm trying to get in touch with Jimmy. I said, we're going to keep our little group going, but we need a bass player. And he said, well, sure, man, I'll volunteer.
Yep.
So I said, you got a bass? He goes, no, but I can find one. So he borrowed a bass guitar, and that was really kind of the introduction. Well, he was leaning toward developing his skills on organ, and shortly thereafter he said, listen, I'd like to move on and develop my chops on the keyboard. He said, in the meantime, I could introduce you to a couple of guys that I grew up with in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And you might find value in what they do. And I said, okay. Turned out to be Frank Beard and Dusty Hill. Yeah. They had been together for years, since they were teenagers. They had such a solid rhythm section developed. They provided a platform. All I had to do was step out and let it go.
I love it.
So
I love it.
That's how it started.
We're talking, of course, in a great conversation with Billy Gibbons. Billy, you're going to be performing at the Blue Note, which is awesome again. That'll be this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I saw you at the Blue Note last year. Dude, I got to tell you, phenomenal. It was so hot. And what I loved is the variety. Is that, yes, you had some the great classics, but man, you were going off on tangents and all kinds of music. And when I listen, I can hear just about everything. I can hear some country in there, R&B. I can hear classic rock. It's just a compilation of all types of music that everyone enjoys.
Well, Rick, it's up until now, it's been a secret. We had misplaced the set list. We didn't know what we were doing. Oh. It was going every direction, as you mentioned. What's next? How about Johnny Cash? Okay.
That may be the strategy moving forward from now on. Never can tell.
We have a special guest invited to join us this go-around.
Okay.
A soul-stirring strummer of the sixth string from way down south. A gentleman by the name of, and it's his real name, Guthrie Trapp.
Guthrie Trapp.
I said, Guthrie Trapp, yeah. Is that a real name? Yeah. But those that will be fortunate enough to join us at the Blue Note will be treated to some of the magic that he brings forward on. I said, Guthrie. I said, come on, man. I said, you can step aside now. Could you leave a few notes for the rest of us? Great player.
By the way, BlueNoteHawaii.com. Log on, be able to get your tickets. Stay with us. We have a pair of tickets to give away after our conversation with Billy. But as you can tell, we are just engaged and delighted that Billy is with us. You'll have a chance to ask a question or two when we come back from a very short break. We'll go back in studio with Jamie, but you are dialed in to News Radio 830 KHVH, a very special event here in the Hawaiian Financial Music Hall featuring Billy Gibbons. He is with us, and we'll be back in a moment if the applause continues all the way through the break. Billy Gibbons with us here today, folks. Back in studio. We'll return in just a moment.
right on your cup.
There you go, yeah. Are we having a good time now? Second.
Oh, shoot, that's awesome. We'll do that up, yeah, that's great.
We found a, oh yeah, man, this is cool. We found a house in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we were looking for somebody to lend a hand at trying to get this and that. Turns out to be a guy 2 houses down, raised here, now living in Las Vegas. In fact, he flew over to join us for this fabulous weekend at the Blue Note. Craig Tanaka.
Tanaka, very good. Local
And
name.
he's been our tour guide. Do we have any locals from Honolulu here? Few, yeah. So I was mentioning, we wound up acquiring a house in Las Vegas, Rancho Circle, and our neighbor 2 doors down was raised here in Honolulu, and he's here visiting his mom. So we've had the luxury of a local giving us, oh, don't go there, we're going to go here. I guess, you know, we can, everybody knows Off the Hook poke. If you don't, you better find out. Oh, it's good.
Where is the best? I love brisket, brother. I love it. Where's the best?
Best brisket, you got to go to, it's not a far swim, back,
Yeah.
back to Texas.
I'll wait for rail to be
Yeah.
built, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you got a great place that you.
Well,
You go
in
to,
between Austin and the Interstate 10 that goes all the way to San Antonio, they call it the Barbecue Trail.
Okay.
And you start in Austin and you weave your way down through Lockhart, Luling, and every town they've got, no, we're better. And then you go to the next town, no, we're better.
Right.
So stay hungry.
God, I'd love to do that. Shoots, bro.
Texas Barbecue Trail, yeah. Smith's, Kreitz, Black's Barbecue, Franklin's in Austin is Franklin's in Austin is a really interesting place. If you ever find yourself in Austin, try and make it over to Franklin's early in the day. If you're in line by 10 a.m., you may have a chance to get served. They got a guy that's checking off, he does a head count. And you can see him, and you don't want to see the guy coming your way because it's like, okay, we got enough, you're out.
You're out. Yeah, hit the road. We're just a few seconds remaining before we get back on the air. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, if you'd like to ask questions with Billy in the time that we have left, in the few minutes remaining, please just a hand up and Safi will come around to you. And I appreciate it if it's very, and once again, very mild. Anyway, we are back on the air on News Radio 830 KHVH. Listen to once again, my goodness, here in the Hawaiian Financial Music Hall. Yes, this is what it sounds like when you're hitting the barbecue sauce bottles so often. Sounds a bit like that in Texas, I have a feeling.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
We were speaking of what you mentioned, your fixation on brisket.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, and I said, well, it's not too far a swim from Honolulu back to Texas, but the Texas Barbecue Trail. If you get a chance to make your way down the Texas Barbecue Trail, you'll probably know what good brisket is all about.
Amen. Amen. We're going to go ahead. If anybody has a question for Billy, go ahead and connect with Safi. In the meantime, though, obvious question, 470 millionth time that you've been asked, Billy, and that is ZZ Top, the origins.
471 million. ZZ Top has an interesting backstory. We heard a little bit about how I joined my two partners And now it'd be fair to say, Mr. Elwood Francis, who was assigned by Dusty to take his guitar and carry the torch. Show must go on, as he said. And Elwood is now, he is the bottom of the top. And it's now becoming known that Elwood and Dusty were fast friends. Elwood's fascination with all stringed instruments. He began as a guitar player, and now a bass player, of course. Ukulele, you name it. If it's got strings on it, he's the guy.
Yeah.
But he and Dusty were two peas in a pod, and they were exchanging licks here and there, and it was. Dusty said, "Yeah, man, if I'm late coming back," he said, "give my guitar to Elwood." So we got it going. Now, I met Elwood going on 3 decades back. He was a skateboarder with an avocado sandwich in one hand, but always clean shaven. Never saw him with whiskers. And then we all had to endure that insane 2-year shutdown.
Oh, Lord.
And when the manager called up and said, "Well, the curtain's lifting. It looks like ZZ Top is going to hit the road." And I went to rehearsal, and I asked one of the crewmen, I said, who's the new guy with the big beard? He said, "Oh, that's Elwood." I said, "No, that guy over there that's Elwood had gotten as lazy as me. Quit shaving, and he's got a beard longer than mine." So he kind of fits the profile.
Fits the bill. Fits the bill. I'm going to turn to Safi. Are you out and about, Safi? And
Yes,
do we have a question?
am. We do have a
Yes.
question. Do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Keepy, Gailey Keepy. And I just wanted to know who came up with the concept of the ride that they drive.
Oh, that was inspired. You mean the Little Red Hot Rod? The famous, now known as the Eliminator Coupe. There was an outfit based in California, Pete and Jake's Hot Rod Repair. And they used to run an advertisement in the back of Hot Rod magazine. And it was a little cartoon drawing by our good friend Robert Williams. And I saw this kind of stylized 34 Ford. I said, "That is it." And I finally got in touch with Pete and Jake, and they said, we got a letter from you. It had a ZZ Top T-shirt in it, a ZZ Top sticker, and all kinds of fun stuff. There was no return address. We didn't know how to find you. And I had stumbled into them at one of the big hot rod gatherings, and they said, "But here you are, let's go." That started the construction of, or destruction of what became the Eliminator Coupe.
Yeah.
We had just finished recording the album that was destined to be titled Eliminator. And as some of you hot rodders out there know, the term eliminator, top eliminator, is like the end of the drag racing circuit series, and it's like the fastest guy with the fastest car.
Yeah.
So we figured, what the heck.
Well, it was appropriately named because Eliminator, my goodness, it had the troika, the big three, and just a defining part of the career of ZZ Top, of Give Me All Your Lovin', Legs, Sharp Dressed Man. And before we get to a listener question, I loved it when I was growing up and watching, because it said one thing: you guys were cool. You guys were cool. You had the ride, you had cars, you had the girls, you had the great,
Shades.
you had the music, you had the choreography. Dude, where did that come from? Dancing with the Stars, you boys.
You're good. This is so crazy. Tim Newman was the director. His cousin Randy Newman was quite noted for a couple of hit records that put him at the top of the charts. But Tim had the vision, and Tim had found out about this little red hot rod car, the Eliminator, and he said, "Man," he said, He said, "You're going to name the record?" They said, "Well, maybe, is that car, is it a real car?" I said, "Oh, yeah." And it was through Tim Newman's vision that the car became part of this new thing called music videos. Not only could you hear music, but now you could see it. Yeah. And, of course, now we all know MTV, which started off as kind of, well, this may go on, turn the globe upside down visually. But to get back to your question about the Eliminator car, maybe you and I could team up and demand that we get the key. The girls are the ones that got to drive it. Yeah. I just wanted to get behind the wheel. No, man, you got to play that guitar.
With all due respect, I have to say I prefer the girls getting out of the car. Safi, we have just a few more moments and another question, please.
Yes, we have another question.
Hey, Billy, I'm John Starkey with Starkey's Auto Repair. And thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. After you guys are done talking, please, we have enough trouble with Rick's Jaguar in our shop. Don't talk him into buying an Eliminator hot rod.
While you're working on Rick's Jaguar, I'll come to see you. There's a new, well, it's not new. If you can find from Japan, it's got to be 25 years or older, the K series, the K class, the little tiny, they're the cutest things going. I'll take two.
You'll take two. Hey, I can hook you up with that. My friend
One to
sells
run
them.
and one to park next to Rick's Jaguar.
No, I got a question for you regarding your music. You know, I know when musicians are writing music, a lot of times you guys will write a song and it's like right out of the gate, you're like, oh wow, this is gonna go platinum. Did you guys ever write a song that you guys in the band thought this thing's going all the way, but it didn't?
Oh yeah, there's one called The Unfinished Song that started 1969 when we first started. Wow. That first jam session, we said, yeah, let's do this thing. And I believe that the challenge of finishing it has kept this group together for over 5 decades.
It's the glue. Yeah.
We did get lucky. Recently, I got a phone call from our good buddy, Billy Bob Thornton. And some of you may have been familiarized with this new Paramount series running called Landman. And Billy Bob and one of his co-writers, Mark Colley, said, hey, man, we've got this idea. Let's get together and write a song. It debuts later with you on this very show. The official release date will be tomorrow. It's called Living It Up Down Texas.
As a matter of fact, we have played that on the air while we were speaking during our segment.
It's one of the songs that did reach completion, but we'll get to the other one someday.
Love it. Thank you, John, for the question. Unfortunately, we're heading up to the final moments with Billy. Billy is going to then exit and go to the green room, and that's where I understand that you'll be able to take a pic with Billy, and then we'll continue on. Is that a no? Then I am going to have to learn the English language. Green room, you can take a pic with him there. Is that incorrect? Oh. Well, come with me, and we'll do it together. That's but Bill,
follow Rick.
Yeah, that's it. Follow. We have literally just 2 minutes remaining.
Well, while we go into the closing, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. We're going to have got a great show lined up for you. The Blue Note there at the Outrigger, and this has been a blast.
Well, to be able to sit down, just talk story, and just get to know you after so many years, Billy, thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
Oh, yeah.
So many moments. Billy is going to be exiting. Stay with us, though, because we have an opportunity for you to win some tickets. We'll talk a little story, but one more time, if you would, please. Round of applause for Mr. Billy Gibbons. All right. Brother, can't thank you enough. you enough. I'll see you on Saturday, actually.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I can't wait for it.
Thank you all. Yeah.
Billy Gibbons! Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh. All right. Let's wait till he leaves the room. No, just kidding. On a scale of 1 to 10, I will have to say that Billy Gibbons is a 14, being just a cool guy, you know? And when you have a chance to, if you ever think about meeting somebody that's been iconic to you, and Billy has the group ZZ Top, for me at my age, just in the wheelhouse. When you have the chance like we're doing today, just to get to know someone, and they're just that down-to-earth, cool, regular dude, I love it. You know that Billy has over 500 guitars that in his collection. ZZ Top, I mentioned on the air, ZZ Top collectively has sold over 50 million records. 50 million. And we were talking about Eliminator, and I meant it about the Troika. Those 3 songs and the videos to those 3 tunes, groundbreaking. Because you would never think that you would get 3 guys, 2 with beards as long as a phone book, dressed in the middle of MTV, cranking out this combo of R&B, country, and blues, and all of this together, and massive, massive hit, all of them. And then continued on with great albums. Afterburner was an awesome album and continued. Billy is touring. You may have heard in his intro, 76 years of age, and hitting it hard. World tour, tour after tour after tour, and we're lucky to have him back again here in Honolulu because the Blue Note is perfect. Anybody catch his show last year by any chance? Yes? Was that dope or what? Wow. Yeah, it was unreal. And I certainly have been inviting you to go, and I'd love to give a pair of tickets away to somebody that would like to go to this show. And again, and we start the bid at $4 million. And we'll do that in a few short moments. Any questions about anything as we have a few minutes just to talk story to the top of the hour? Anything you'd like to know? What's coming up? Favorite shows that you've seen at the Blue Note that we've had a presents on? Anything of that nature? Sure.
How did it come about that Billy Gibbons was here today?
I think a lot of it was Blue Note, is they really wanted to optimize, but he had to agree because he has the song release that's tomorrow, and he wanted to really optimize as much coverage for it. But this is a first where we just talk story. We mentioned on the air that it was a non-performance time, and as it was, the conversation was the hit. That, I mean, to have him just sit there and talk about his parents and picking up a guitar and, I love that. That story about his housekeeper, Big Stella, there was a great thing back in the day, and it was called border radio. And this is where the transmission powers were variable back in the day. The biggest flamethrower was a 50,000 watt station, but that was even under control over the FCC. So what enterprising fellas would do is go right over the border and create radio stations, border stations. And they would boost that power up to 500,000 watts. That's insane. There were reports that the signal could be heard in parts of Europe. Billy recounted in another conversation, even here in Hawaii, they were able to pick up that signal. It's called skips, the AM signal that it can do. And so that was really instrumental in developing a lot of the music backgrounds that manifested itself into ZZ Top. And the story after story is just tremendous, just fantastic. Ticket giveaways, I have no idea how we're going to do this. In the green room. I think I'm the only one back there, so I'll do that there. Why don't we just do this? Could you all please stand up? If you're sitting, please go ahead and stand up. And please, if you're in the back, get a nice visual for us. This is very simple. Very simple. This is Junk and Poe, baby. Junk and Poe. If you match my signal, match what I do, stay standing. If you do not, you'll have to have a seat. Make sense? Got it? Here we go. Okay, and it's Junk and Poe, not Junk and Poe. So, Junk and Poe. Here we go. Here it is. Junk and Poe. If you have anything but scissors, please have a seat. That was close. That was close. Here we go. Round 2. Junk and Poe. If you have anything but paper. Here we go. Ready? Junk and Poe. If you have anything but paper. Right over here. All right. How many you got? Just a few. Here we go. Junk and Poe. Anything but scissors. We have 1 scissors right here. Come on up, brother. Come on up.
Hey, pleasure to meet you, Mr. Amata. I'm Ryan from Kauai.
Ryan, did you come all the way from Kauai to be here?
Yes, I did.
No kidding.
We gotta play Wailua. I'm the guy that calls you
Oh,
radio
yeah.
station all the time.
I know. I
Now
love
I get to
Wailua.
stay with my friend on North Shore because I gotta go to the show.
Well, you gotta go. You're going. Put those hands together for Ryan. Look at that pair of tickets right here. Here, Ryan. Well done. I love that. Man, that was well done. Ryan just came up to me and said, if anybody has $500, he'll sell the tickets to you. That's no, not at all. No, you'll be okay. You'll be all right. We have just about 6 or 7 minutes remaining, and I want to thank you so very much for coming. I want to thank Jack in the Box, who provided breakfast for us today. I want to thank also Monster Energy Drinks. I live on Monster. But in all honesty, it's transition. They got the best water. I'm saying, the best water. Monster Energy water. It has nothing added to it. But there's different flavors and different waters, yes. And Monster is dope. We got a whole fridge in the studio for it. Coke products, again, I want to thank them as well. Want to thank our team here at iHeart, because without the diligence, the talent, skill level, it's amazing. The brother that's taking care of all the audio, the visual, cues, everything, he's back in the booth. He can hear you. Would you put your hands together for Cooper? Brother Coop. Thank you so very much. Also, and I'm not sure, still in the studio or still in the room, want to thank Brother, oh, he's right here. Put those hands together for Romeo Valentine. There we go. Brother Romes. And who assisted and made sure that we could hear you when you were talking to us. Safi, would you please? Safi. Without a doubt. I know I'm going to miss some folks, but I want to thank Brother Craig of our engineering team for helping in all ways. I want to thank John Matthews, our PD, for helping facilitate, organize, and present. I want to thank Jamie Hyatt. He's our Senior VP of Programming for the entire group. He was the gentleman in the studio keeping us on the air, cueing us as the show went on. I want to thank Brother Jamie so very much. And one gentleman that you've heard many times on Star 99.1, Poor Sports Radio. We'll be together at noon. He's the guy that literally organizes all the spaghetti noodles that are all mixed up, puts them all in a line, and makes it good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Flash Hansen. without a doubt. And that's many members of our team. I want to thank you for listening to KHVH Radio. One quick thing while we're together, the transmitter. This close. We had to chat with the engineers, and this close. And what's taking place is the final stages of painting. You have to have approved painting of transmissions, of towers, and that's where we are. So can't give a date because if I did, it wouldn't be met. So all I can say is that it's imminent. So we'll be back. And thank you, because it's been a pain in the Okole for us here in the station. I know for you, and thank you for listening, but I think our online has done very well. I switched over to the app during our downtime. It worked extremely well. And then social media, especially our website, where you can listen as well. So that is minutes away. So on that note, I just want to find out if one final thought about today, anybody have anything to share? Love to do it when we actually get to be face-to-face and in the room together. Anything on your mind that you want to share or express before we go? You are coming to every event we have because you keep it focused, baby. John, thank you, John. Thank you so very much. And the reaction to when John took the mic, John Starkey from Starkey's Auto Repair, stellar individual. And you may have heard some of the challenges, but this team under John and Zach, they're going to be great. It's going to be good to see what's next. I think, let's see, I don't know if he's still, Jim Bixby, are you still here, Jim? If not, Jim is part of the Goodfellas every single Friday. And he was in attendance today, and a lot of good friends that came on board. Brother Ray, he has been to every single event we've had. He's been to events that we don't even have. It's amazing. I don't think Stalker is your middle name, but we love it. That's Brother Rayson with us here today. So anyhow, we're in the home stretch. Thank you genuinely, and reminding you that Billy will be at the Blue Note Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And there's going to be a chance to go to one of the 3 shows. Showtime 7 p.m., doors open at 5:30. Go online, you'll be able to find a pair of tickets, I hope still available. But on behalf of the entire team, thank you for everything and for being with us today. Thank you so much, folks.
Thank you guys so much for coming. We have a little bit of extra Jack in the Box if you want to grab someone.